Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Asset Coach and Tax Strategist. So happy that you guys are here. Appreciate you as a subscriber. If you're a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe so I can appreciate you being a subscriber. No, in all seriousness, thanks so much for joining and investing your time with us. And we just love it. If you love our content, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. Add any comments or suggestions down below. Would love to get your feedback. So we're continuing this series, and it really wasn't going to do a series, but it just at some point I just had to not hold my tongue anymore. And if you've been a subscriber for a while, you already know that we've talked about California. We kind of had different articles that we'd bash California and China on, the BRICS, some of those kind of current events and situations. Then we started this series about what we do and what I do as an asset coach, tax strategist, trying to give you more insight into in philosophy and theories of how we do our planning here at Terra Firma and what you need to do to think about in your own situation, your own life. But all these articles kept coming out about California and more and more and more. And at some point, I just was like bursting. And so we're doing this series. So far, this is I think the third episode or something like that. I don't know, on California. And so we're going to dive into another article on California, and in the previous articles, we're really talking about more on the gas hike and prices and some of the decisions that the Newsom administration in California made decisions on. But now Governor Newsom's coming out and saying that the state will provide rebates if Trump removes tax credits for electric vehicles, and yeah, he's doubling down on his commitment to clean air and green jobs in California to maintain the momentum of EV sales. Well, the reality is where are you going to get this money, my friend? You're broke. Your state's broke. You're broke. You would have probably California probably would have went into bankruptcy if the Democrats didn't steal that last election. But thank goodness they did, quite honestly, because now people are awake. They saw the reality of the decisions and this pattern of just in crazy insane decisions. And here's somebody who's saying we're gonna give you rebates if Trump removes tax. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The reality is you're broke. You've made decisions financially as a state that continues to make you broke. People are leaving the state because you're broke, because of your silly decisions, and you're just doubling down exactly what and this is NBC News. Right? This isn't some right-wing editorial. This is crazy. So let's go through this article. Newsom said the state will provide rebates to residents if President-elect Trump incoming administration does away with federal credit for electric vehicles. And the reality is, the previous administration, the Biden administration, really bailed out California. Like I said, California would have went bankrupt. It just there in the financial crisis of 2008, we saw a lot of cities in California go bankrupt and go under. The entire state would have. This is so insane. But in a news release on Monday, Newsom said he would restart the state's clean vehicle rebate program, which provided financial incentives to more than 590,000 vehicles before it was phased out in 2023. It will intervene with Trump administration, eliminates the federal tax credit, doubling down on our commitment to clean air and green jobs in California. We're not turning our backs on clean transportation future. We're going to make it more affordable for people to drive vehicles that don't pollute. Okay. Yeah. All right. Blinders on, right? And I talked about this in previous episodes. The reality is that sure, you may have a electric vehicle as an end user have zero emission, but the entire process to make that thing, the entire process before that is nothing but non-clean. It's the opposite. In fact, it increases carbon emissions more than the normal production and manufacturing and the life of a carbon gas vehicle. It's just the reality. It's just the reality. Go look at the studies. But if you're not looking in the studies, then you can be blinded by this reality of what you're seeing. And you have to sit here as a citizen, not of just America, but as a Californian. You have to sit there and just go, whose pockets are being lined? Just the reality of it. It's insane to have these types of comments and conversations to go down this. Yeah, okay, electric vehicles be more affordable for everybody. But until then, you're stepping on the backs and the heads and the faces of the working class people by causing them their expenses and their lifestyle to increase with inflation for all these costs, and they're working harder and harder and harder, and all you just keep doing is stepping on their backs and their head to get higher up and to get a higher position. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The federal rebates on new and used electric vehicles were implemented in the Inflation Reduction Act. By the way, Inflation Reduction Act, I want to do the opposite. And this same thing is California changed the minimum wage increase and increased it, which did what? Now you're looking at the numbers and employment numbers in California, and they're dropping. Why? Well, because it costs too much. It costs too much to hire people now. And you can't pass that cost on to the end user, you and I as consumers, that full amount. Because then people stop buying. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And so, but again, it's just a bunch of people sitting in a room, comfy chairs, elbow patches. They got their pipes in their mouth, and they're all in a smoky room, laughing and telling stupid jokes, and making these decisions based on theory versus reality. You have politicians and people, professors and researchers making these theoretical decisions and thoughts and ideas, and what's happening? It's not working, but they're doubling down, right? Okay, you go for it, boy. You make that happen. Whatever floats your boat. Unfortunately, don't be surprised if that boat starts sinking, which is what's happening. Okay. Federal rebates on new and used vehicles were implemented in the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022. When Trump's second term in office begins next year, he could work with Congress to change the rules around those rebates. Those potential changes could limit the federal rebate, including by reducing the amount of money available or limiting who is eligible. Limiting federal subsidies on electric vehicle purchases would hurt many American automakers, including Ford, General Motors, and EV startup Rivian. Tesla, which also builds its automobiles in the United States, would take a smaller hit since the company currently sells more EVs and has a higher profit margin than any other EV manufacturer. Because why? Because they're not relying on subsidies. Because they learned how to run a business. They made the business more efficient. Ford, General Motors weren't efficient before EV, and now they're trying to figure out EV, and they suck at it. Let's be real. They suck at it. Go read articles about the CEO driving a F-150 Lightning and his experience. They suck at it. Stick with what you do. Okay? But they're all greedy. They all have to feel they have to jump on this bandwagon and all this fun stuff. The reality is Ford and General Motors sell more of their vehicles in middle America to hardworking folks that aren't going to buy these electric vehicles. Sure, the Tesla Cybertruck is in testing against normal trucks. It's more powerful and all that fun stuff. Great. That's awesome. Good for you. Knuckle bump. Awesome. Bulletproof on a farm is really going to be helpful. It really is. It's really going to be helpful. Unless you're on a pot farm, then it'll be helpful, right? Especially if you're along the border or if you're in Colombia, right? I mean, the reality is, come on, folks, let's use our head. The thing about Tesla is they're making higher profits. Why? Because they know their market, their segment. They also have perfected the manufacturing of their vehicles. They reduced the craziness and the waste in the manufacturing process. Okay, they made those tough decisions, which is the right thing to do. But the reality is, anyways, don't want to think about that, right? But this is a businessman, Musk. This is a businessman who's made his life, his career of improving areas that needed improvement. Isn't that what we've been talking about? Isn't that the whole thing about clean air and green is improving But where are we improving things? Even with Tesla, when again, the end vehicle, awesome. Their margins are higher, awesome. But what about the beginning part of it? All the carbon and all the waste and all the stuff is done on the beginning to get to the end result of something that's zero emission. Okay. Is all that stuff going to change? Is that all that stuff going to eliminate and just poof go away? Is there a period of improvement, enhancement? Yes, of course. Absolutely. Right? But if you look at Tesla and what they're doing is that they're also doing improvements in other areas. They're doing exactly what Apple did. Exactly what Apple did. Hey, a Walkman. That's cool. People like to walk around with their music and have their music, their favorite music with them. What if we were able to put 10,000 of their favorite songs? By the way, do you have 10,000 favorite songs? I don't know. And that's what created the iPod, which evolved into the iPhone, which evolved into the Mac, right? All of a sudden, there's this evolution, right? But it was improving a product, improving the process of the product, making it user friendly. And Apple has got high margins as well, but they know who they are. Ford and General Motors going into the EV market aren't, that's not who they are. Rivian, good for you. They are a electric vehicle manufacturer. Give them the subsidies, not Ford and General Motors. Give them the help. Get them in a position to where they can compete with Tesla and have their market share and know who they are, and then remove that and let them stand on their own 2 feet, just like Tesla has. That's business. That's a business in every industry. If you need help, ask for it, get it, improve. If you constantly keep needing help, more needing help, more needing help, and you're not changing and improving your process, you're eventually going to fail. That's the evolution of business. That's it. It happens in the animal kingdom as well. You're slow, you hurt, you're maimed, you're gonna get eaten. You're food. You don't hear hurt hyenas around the world complaining, saying, "Oh, it's not fair. I've got a bum leg. Why are we the first to be eaten?" But because that's what we do, though. We sit there and complain. Shut up. Shut up. Right? There's plenty of resources, online free resources to improve your situation. Stop blaming and complaining and whining about what everybody else is doing. Pick up a freaking mirror, look in it, and make decisions and change your life. That's the reality. And unfortunately, this is what's happening with the Democrat Party. They're enabling this whiny, bitchy type of persona, and it's getting worse and worse. And it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Stand up. Be a productive human. Change yourself. No one's going to go out there and change you. Don't expect someone to help you change. You do it, and then people will help you. That's the reality. That's how it works. Hasn't changed. Well, Bob, that's insensitive. No, that is called tough love. That is shut the F up and do it. That is the reality. If you want to have a different situation, only you can make that change. So you have these politicians like Newsom in the state of California. He's not allowing a lot of people to make that change and do that because he's strangling them based on these crazy decisions that make no sense to anybody other than him and his cronies and whoever's profiting off of all this. Time will investigate the reality of what occurred. Unfortunately, he'll go off into the sunset with no consequences, and same with the people that profited. Hopefully, at some point, though, things will change. Would I love to see him in jail, and whether even if it's a cushy jail cell? Absolutely. What I think is he's doing to the California citizens is absolutely criminal. Absolutely criminal to the wealthy and to the lower class. Period. That's one guy's opinion. Do you agree with me? Put it in the comments. If you don't agree with me, put it in the comments. I want to hear it. So thanks guys for your time. I appreciate it. Always blessed to have you here. Give us a thumbs up. Just go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Share us with other people. But we may continue this. We may not. We may stop at the 3, 4, 5. I don't know how many episodes we did about California. But again, it's always good to have this information, and knowledge is power, right? But knowledge is not power unless you implement it. Okay. So take this information, take this knowledge, and take action. Nothing's going to happen without that next step of action. So move forward. God bless. Thanks so much.